we need to be a bit more objective looking at this.
Yeah,
Say,
about
I
being
understand
objective,
this,
yeah.
but let's explore this as well, and then let's look at the holistic picture.
We pick and choose kind of sometimes when stuff's doing. That's probably what I'm doing here right now, which is probably ethically wrong, I guess. And I think
But that's very self-aware of you as well,
Yeah.
and which is good for you to point out, and
Thank
that's
you.
healthy as well.
I'll make sure I add that onto the clip.
That's going to be the trailer at the start.
Yo, it's Tracksuits and Ties. I'm Mr. B, aka Mr. B Spoke, and I'm joined by
Easy, I'm smashing easy.
Moe Paly.
and we are joined by a very special guest for a very special occasion. He goes by the name of Zeeshan Ali. Some of you might know him as Smarter Jannah. Introduce yourself.
Oh, thank you. So I'm a YouTuber called Smile to Jannah. I make videos that are politically, socially themed with an Islamic backdrop, done in a kind of humor, light-hearted way. So quite similar to what you guys do, I guess. But
Trying to do.
Yeah, no, that's a great compliment. That is a great compliment. Yeah.
I think that's what's needed nowadays, isn't it? I mean, something that takes what's going on
Yep.
and then presenting it in a more palatable sort of way. So yeah, that's what it is, I guess.
Just because as you say that, I just think straight away off the bat, like, how do you deal with because you paint things in a light-hearted way and you have a particular fan base and following, like, how do you deal with the people that criticize you and say, oh, you're what's the best way to put it, like
Making a mockery,
or you're being insensitive, like how do you say you deal with that?
Malcolm, the thing is, they say that about everybody.
Yeah.
Che Guevara is a homophobe. Martin Luther King had issues.
Yeah.
Malcolm X was too aggressive.
Yeah.
When it comes to Gandhi, he was, like why was he married to somebody under the age of 16? Now with Roald Dahl, they've got issues with him. They're taking stuff out of his book. Look, that's going to happen whether you like it or not. And if it comes down to, because there's criticism now suddenly that affects me. Look, if the criticism is justified, that's good. I'm actually helpful. Like, rather than paying somebody to go through my stuff, people are giving me that analysis for free. Normally, companies have to hire people to find out, what people think. Hey, I'm getting it for free. So I just have to filter it. This is justified. That's unjustified. And then, you have to have a thick skin. Otherwise, you don't get anything done.
Yeah. What do you might say you got thick skins?
I clearly don't.
These two have had a bit of backlash recently, just to kind of give you an update on the recent two videos that we've had posted. And the comments, apparently it's my fault because I
it's
posted
100% your fault.
But it was what they said, and the public.
That you edited.
Yeah, I mean, we do an hour episode and trying to cut out a segment of it for so short, they think that I'm trying to put them under the bus. And
what was the topic?
So the very first episode, I said it. My biggest fear is to be misinterpreted or taken out of context, and that exactly happened. We were talking about culture and getting married to someone that obviously people deem here underage, and I was comparing mindset of a 16-year-old from, let's say, a non-Western country to a 25-year-old woman here. And I just got so much. Check his hard drive. Did this guy really say that? What a creep. And it was just like, what did I say? I never...
You comparing 16 to 25-year-olds?
Yeah, in terms of mentality. In terms of...
location of living as well, though.
Basically the hardships of...
I never mentioned sexual intercourse, any of that.
And you were taking... It was the historical context as well?
No, I was just... I was in that context, I was talking about someone that I knew that went back home and married someone who was 16 at the time, and he was about 29, 30.
Interesting.
And if you asked a younger me, I would have been like, oh, that's a no-no. Whereas now, I was just like, her family don't see anything wrong with it. She doesn't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
The community they're from doesn't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
What makes someone else that lives here say it's wrong so that it's justified, so we have to listen to what they say? The age of consent, for example, to have sex here is 16.
Yep.
So that's fine. but getting married is a doesn't make sense. That's the argument I was trying to present to him, and that was it really. And then just
went off.
put me on a stage.
I mean, he got his views and followers. There was a lot of support as well. Don't get me wrong, but I think that, like you said, people just want
a lot is.
You have to look at what's justified, and your argument does seem like it's got credence to it. Maybe it might have been how you would have put it forward and stuff like that, but that's an example of, you know what, don't take it to heart sort of thing. That's easier said than done, but it comes with experience. The more you're doing the show, the more real topics you'll get into, bro. You'll have to weigh it up. Either you try to please everybody, you still won't be successful, but you don't talk about the things that actually matter, or you talk about the things that actually matter, piss people off, but actually create or cause some sort of change. You have to decide what camp you're going to be in.
What hurt me the most is a lot of these comments I was looking at. You're reading the comments. A lot of them were coming from a background where you see that stuff still happening in their community or country, or whatever. So, and they're the ones that were coming at me. So it was just like, I thought out of all people, you'd have more understanding what I'm saying than someone that's from England or.
But bear in mind, we live in a time of sheep. It's a very sheepish mentality.
That's facts.
Whatever comes on the news, majority of the people will go with that. It's just the way people are. Like, as soon as we're put in the schooling system, where like, you've seen those little images where you've got these light bulbs on the head of kids, and then there's a machine that's just popping them. It's just popping them. That's what makes you ready for school. We'll tell you when you can take a whiz. We tell you when it's food. We tell you where to line up. We tell you it's time to do this now. It creates you for conformity. And for you to get into a certain job, again, you need to be, a conformist as well. So we're in a society of conformity. So you have to understand, especially with people that are commenting. You're not going to get like CEO of a company sitting on a YouTube video commenting, I am very offended by what you said. Enter. It's a certain demographic that's there. So sometimes just understanding where it's coming from. For some people, bro, you know what it is? It actually exposes the lack of understanding. Because even if you're an 18-year-old, if you ask an Indian, like, we're 18, we're getting married, to them, it's illegal. In India, it's illegal to get married under the age of 21.
Serious?
Yeah, so what the brother said is actually correct. It depends. Like, it's arbitrary, it's relative, it depends on culture. Like, you can't prove, you speak to anybody, like, what's the age that a person can consent or this or that, or when are they sexually ready? 99.9% of people will say puberty. Yeah, and then afterwards, the age, that depends on the society. It depends on the society. And there's the fallacy of anachronism as well, where you look at what's happened in the past and what you look at where we are now. So this it's a very kind of nuanced conversation, but it's definitely not cut and dry. Nobody can prove that 13 is better than 15, is better than 18, is better than 20. You can't prove it.
I would disagree. I would disagree there. I think definitely the mindset of a 13-year-old, how dependent a 13-year-old is on their family still, is a lot different to say an 18-year-old. Like, I may still be worried about a 13-year-old being at home alone by themselves because you don't know what they could do. An 18-year-old, I'll leave them by the house. Like, it's just like the levels of, I guess, maturity is where me and him were having a disagreement. Was understand, like, people that come from a different world, who have to bear more responsibilities as they're younger. But I still think there's a mindset there where they still need to develop and grow and then sort of make those choices by themselves. And I think that was some of the comments that were coming on the sort of like the comment section or whatever. So yeah, that's just my only thing.
So would you? Sorry, Con.
But one thing I would say about Malcolm, what you said is that's based on a Western paradigm, and that's based upon a certain way of thinking that we have here in the West. For example, childhood.
Yeah.
Childhood is something that came post-industrial revolution, and it's not something that people in the East can really afford to have.
Yeah.
I mean, childhood, that until the age of 12, you're just being raised and, just chill out and just, go to school and this and that. No. If you're able to walk and talk, you're going to work. If not, like, you're going to die. That's why look at the kids. They've got like 6-7 kids. Out of those, 2 will survive. What are they doing? You look at certain remote villages.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
Do you see?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So your thing was based on the Western thing.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that you're unaware I would say, based on what you said about what's going on really in the East and especially in the Eastern villages. I'm not saying
Yeah.
it's right or wrong.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is I agree with you that there's three criteria. In Islam, we've got three criteria. Person has to be mentally, physically, and it has to be socially acceptable as
Yeah.
well.
Okay.
The age of marriage.
Yeah.
So I definitely in agreement with you. But what I'm saying is we can't now take the Western paradigm and apply it everywhere else and say that's right, based on what? Based on what I think, what I see. No. What if you were
You
born?
don't. So you don't think that you don't think you don't think a 13-year-old's sort of development in maturity is not sort of kind of across the board when you're at say 13. I would say it wasn't. It isn't. I know they go through different experiences and traumas. I wouldn't say their mindset would still be like I said. I would still find them to be incredibly dependent on their mothers and their fathers and whatnot. So yeah, I
Some
don't
people
know.
don't have that luxury.
Yeah, no, and I do understand that. Yeah,
Like here, the life expectancy is like 60, 70 years. In those
Yeah.
countries, my bro, their life expectancy is like 30.
Yeah,
You look in
and yeah,
Palestine.
yeah.
A kid that's 10, wallah, look at a kid that's 10. He will blow you away.
yeah. No, I've seen it. I've definitely
yeah.
seen the videos of like the madness that's been going on in Palestine. You can see the way they speak. They're so politically
Aware and
aware.
astute,
Yeah, they
yes.
are. The way they're passionate about it as well. They speak with so much heart. You can
They
see,
have to, bro. It's
no,
survival.
because they're living it every day. Like they're literally living it every day. So yeah, no, I definitely, I definitely understand that point. But I still don't think I would put that responsibility on a child. Who I wouldn't put the responsibility to look after another child to look after another child. I wouldn't want that in ideal situation.
But sometimes we don't have that choice.
Yeah, I didn't have
friends-
that
and
choice.
that's-
I
that-
didn't even. I lived here. I didn't have
Yeah.
that choice. But I definitely, in an ideal world, I wouldn't.
In an ideal world,
Yeah.
I would even push that further.
Yeah.
I'll
yeah.
say mentally people aren't ready.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that, in certain situations and scenarios, like brother said,
What made you think, oh, I'm gonna start doing YouTube? I'm gonna start jumping on YouTube.
I think it was just the decadence of society, to be honest. Like when
Yeah.
you look at the way society has gone down, and then you go to the mosque, you hear the people of knowledge saying this is key, this is important. You hear them out, you listen, you look at what's out there, and you're like, look, this makes sense. Like it's true, and it's so powerful and it's so effective. Like, and then you're keeping it to yourself. That didn't make sense to me. And I was like, it needs to be shared, and it needs to be challenged.
Yeah.
So when you put it out there, it gets challenged, and you refine your faith as well. It keeps you motivated also, and it helps others.
But as an Asian brother 10 years ago, I'll be honest, if I told my parents that I'm starting a YouTube channel, even if I'm talking about Islam, my parents are going to beat the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Like get a real job kind of thing.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
how'd that conversation
That's true.
go?
That's true. And to be honest, they do that. But the thing is, bro, like just because your parents are going to beat the crap out of you doesn't mean that you don't. What you do is you just you maneuver. You change your strategy. So the strategy, instead of like I have to always tell my parents when I'm doing a career and I must go into that career full on, just change that, modify that slightly, like reduce the risk.
So wait, hold on. Smarter Jannah is saying it's okay to manipulate your parents.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. As long as you're manipulating them for something good.
Okay.
For example,
To note that down.
and I back it up in the sense that you have your smile to Jannah.
Yeah.
You do your little videos,
Yeah.
but you don't rely on it financially.
Right.
You have a job.
Yeah.
You show your parents that you're responsible. You win their trust because as parents, they be bringing you up, teaching you how to walk and how to talk. To them, you're like this little pathetic little thing that, always gets things wrong. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
So show them now, if they've got a certain perception of you, show them that I'm not that person anymore. I'm responsible. And then what you do is your channel's always going to start like that. Yeah. Like I worked in retail and I did all that. So like that, you do you pay your dues and everything and you're doing all that. And then you slowly build your channel up.
Right.
And then when it's at a stage and then you can hop, you show them, you bring in that check. You show them, look, I'm going out and about.
Okay.
Look, I'm responsible. Like the thing is, look, parents are worried. You're always their my little son, my little daughter. So sometimes with the society that we're in, like F them, if they don't trust me and my dreams and this, that. Look, calm down, relax, easy.
Yeah.
Like understand where the other person's coming from.
Right.
So see and speak to them like, Mum, why do you not want me to do it? And they'll have valid reasons. Unstable income. What if this happens?
Yeah.
How much are you making? I'm just making a £20, hustling. This and that. That's not good enough. That's not going to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, why is that so prevalent, especially in our community, let's say from Arab, Asian household, where you want to do something
Welcome to the show, Mo.
that's usually against the norm? Our parents or always have negatives. They always think the worst.
Oh, survival.
Always.
Survival and trauma. Our parents, when they were brought in, if you look at even Britain post World War II, it was inviting our parents in. And when our parents came in, bro, they were ghettos, bro.
Yeah.
They were treated like a pile of doo-doo. You know what I'm saying? Like our parents had to grind. Oh, we gave you mosque and we shut up. You didn't give us mosque. We went around in our communities with buckets saying, look, we need to get this place and this and that. We didn't get government funded mosques and stuff like that. We had to grind for it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like whether it's black people, whether it's Asian people, when you're in a mosque and you had a thobe, bro, you had to tuck that in and go out. Shave. And our countries have been interfered in. Like we're constantly on the edge. And trauma, there's studies to suggest trauma is hereditary. You can inherit trauma.
I'm going to say this, I'm going to be hated for this because I'm from Kosovo, so as you know, it's a war-torn country. And if it wasn't for America, we would be Serbia. So in that, it's like, is it a way where kind of we're selfish when we're on the American side or when we're not on the American side? Because them interfering in the war with Serbia and Kosovo has allowed me the privilege to be here. Otherwise, and have that independence. So like when me and him, because he's Palestinian, and when we have that conversation, he is probably not the most for Americans. And I'm like, nah, bro, I can't really say anything bad in terms of America. Not because it hasn't done what you're saying, but individually and as a family, it's probably, if they didn't get involved, I might not be alive.
But the only problem with that, my bro, is that's selfish.
Yeah.
And what you have to do as a human being is be objective.
Yeah.
I know that's very hard to do, but the thing is, objectivity is key. Otherwise, it's this whole individualism thing that, oh, as long as my house is safe, it's okay. No, you have to look at the general policies and how it's affecting the people at large. And you can also appreciate that one aspect whilst also being just and saying, this may have been good for me and my family, but those 10 other instances, they're wrong.
Is orange juice halal or haram?
Yeah, orange juice is halal.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because it's got 0.5% alcohol in it.
Not the Islamic definition of alcohol.
Okay, so elaborate. That's what. So from my understanding, because I work in the drinks industry, we know that a lot of the fruit drinks have a consumption of alcohol in there. Orange juice tends to have a 0.5% source of alcohol in there. So in theory, that would become. So what? So go on.
So firstly, when a person says orange juice, it depends what culture you're from. Some people, they deem orange juice as, I take an orange, I squeeze it and I drink it.
Right.
That you can't say there's alcohol in it because I just squeezed it myself. There's no alcohol in it.
Right.
However, now when you talk about the drinks industry, is that technically orange juice? Are you talking about freshly squeezed orange juice? Are you talking about orange juice from concentrate? Are you talking about, what orange juice are we really talking about? So then you'll talk about like the Tropicana and these concentrates. So even Islamically, within, like, if it's below a certain percentage, that's actually okay, because even if you look at ketchup, you can argue that, okay, that's got this alcohol in it or this or that. Certain people will still avoid it, but according to the majority opinion, if it's below a certain percentage, then it's okay.
What is the percentage? I want to start drinking alcohol.
So
Are dating apps halal or haram?
Dating
apps.
Dating is haram.
Dating apps.
Yeah, so anything now with dating apps or dating website or
So Muzmatch.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, do they class themselves as a dating app or a Muslim matrimonial app?
Okay, so explain. Where's the line?
Yeah, so
because it's the same concept, we can use different words for it. That's fine.
Yeah. So if you're speaking to the opposite gender and there's no one
present,
there's no one present, that's not allowed. Yeah, and if it's done in private. For example, if you're in your room, she's in her room, and you're on WhatsApp messaging each other, or you're on a website that you're messaging each other and it's private, that's not allowed.
Wow.
Yeah. However, if there is a wali, for example, her representative that's able to see the conversation, or the website is offering somebody like they've got like scholars that are observing conversations to check for lewdness and stuff like that, then that's permissible. If you're meeting in a public place and you obviously there's no one that you can bring, because certain people they've reverted to Islam or whatnot, then it's allowed. But if you're in a private place and there's no one there,
Okay.
whether it's on a website, whether it's on an app, that's peak. And a lot of stuff that's happening in our society, bro, are coming from relationships, like haram relationships. Like, and let me take the word haram out. Non-committed relationships.
Yeah.
Like if there was somebody here and I'm like, you want to go out with me and this and that. She goes, yeah. That's it's built on a weak foundation. There's no safety for her. There's no safety for me.
Yeah.
And that's the reason a lot of madness happens.
But divorce has become so easy.
Divorce has become easy, but there's still some decorum to divorce.
Okay.
Yeah, because
It's more justifiable.
divorce is predicated on the fact that marriage has taken place. And Islamically, when you get married, there has to be two witnesses. There's certain kind of, there's a khutbah that's read. There's an etiquette. You are paying mahar. You are paying money for the safety of that woman, that if divorce was to happen, then, she's not left in the lurch. Her parents are involved. There's a wali, there's a carer that's involved. It's a much more respectable process. And if something's going wrong, people can be involved. When it's just you and her, she doesn't know if you're a nutcase or not. You might be very good. Like certain people are easily, you can bluff her, you can chirps her, you can give her the drop the lines. And sometimes she'll be like, wow. But the thing is, look, like they say, it's it takes a few lines to get into a relationship and into a marriage, but it takes character to remain in that marriage and in that relationship. And the thing is, character is something that, again, we were talking about being mentally ready.
Yeah.
And that's why, bro, getting other people involved and turning into something that's serious, that there's going to be consequences, bro.
Yeah.
Like our family know, if you mess her around, bro, they will come and slap the... You know what I'm saying? Out of you.
There's a lot of people, like, this kind of brings on to our topic, which is brilliant actually. There's a lot of people that get married in the most traditional way, more on the Christians and the Catholic aspects, where you're walking down the aisle, you have the priest saying the vows and you get married, but they're not then in theory non-believers as well. So what do you think as certain people out there that believe that there's a God, but probably don't believe, or they pick and choose what part of the religion they want to believe?
The analogy that's similar to that is like a map. Yeah,
A map?
Yeah, a map.
Yeah.
So I can give you a map, and then you can ring me an hour later saying, I'm lost, bro. This is ridiculous. Like, what's going on? And somebody looks at him and goes, he's got a map and he's lost. There's no hope for me. But you, just a little interview with that person, you realize the guy's not following the map. He's not reading the map. He's not even interested in the map. Yeah, he reads a bit at the beginning, like, okay, take a left. And then now he's bored. Like, taking a left is not enough to get you to your destination. Take a left at the roundabout. Yeah, I'm going to switch you off now. And then now you're just going left. Like, that's mad. So the thing is, look, religion offers guidelines. If you are to attain true benefit, you have to follow the religion properly. If you don't follow the religion properly, you can't expect to get the full benefit from the religion. You know what I'm saying?
But sometimes you're not believing in the religion, one, because some people might think it's man-made, and secondly, with you, when I say I believe in God, for argument's sake, I believe there's a creator. I don't think it just came out of a big bang or whatnot. I genuinely believe that someone created X, Y, and Z, and then as stuff evolved, I became to be who I am, kind of thing. So I believe there's a creator. But when I think about religion, I'm born Muslim, and I do a lot of stuff that I should be doing. There's a lot of stuff I don't do as well, and that's when I'm like, well, actually, it's technically man-made as well, religion, as opposed to, you can't say God is man-made because he created himself in aspects. Which I don't know, you can answer that. So that's where some people
So
like.
it was the point that religion is man-made.
No, partially yes, but the bigger point is, well, I believe there's a creator, and I can just be a nice person, have a pure heart, and that will get me to the destination without the map, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the analogy to that is somebody who doesn't brush his teeth and say, my mouth is still clean. So a person that says, yeah, I have a clean heart, But what's your definition of a clean heart? Doing good things. What's good to you and what's good to me is going to be different. Like you said, I'm basing my love, not love, but my kind of appreciation of America based on what it did for my family
Right.
and my country.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Like, if everybody's doing their own thing about what's good and what's bad, society is going to be chaotic.
Right.
In fact, somebody who doesn't believe in God, and this is an open challenge, you can't prove something is good or bad objectively. That's impossible.
It's
And
not.
no atheist claims that they can prove that this is good or that's bad objectively. Religion is the only one that says, yeah, objectively, this is good or
What
bad.
about the law?
Yeah, but that's not good or bad. That's right or wrong for the good of society. They don't claim that that's right or wrong. Sorry, they don't believe that's good or bad. They believe it's right or wrong. There's a distinction there.
So what do you say to people that feel like atheists in particular that feel like religion causes war and it causes death? What do you say to those people that feel like people that follow not are, I guess, quote unquote spiritual and just believe there is a creator, but they don't particularly follow another religion, but they feel like people that follow a religion, they believe
I'd
this
say
is what
that's a
causes-
very outdated argument.
Okay, no,
You know,
explain. No,
yeah,
explain.
yeah. I'll
of
tell you.
course, yeah.
I'll tell you why. Because what religion was Stalin? What religion was Hitler? These people didn't
Yeah.
believe in a god.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, communism. I mean, look, Stalin and Mao Zedong and all these guys.
Yeah.
Even though I don't know if he's got dong in his name, but these guys, they were atheists. They tried atheism. I mean, Darwinism is linked to racism. Yeah, survival of the fittest. That was something that Hitler loved.
Yeah.
And he tried to incinerate the Jews. So the thing is, like, don't give me that, oh, it's religion. We've tried without religion, and that caused madness. And the people that say it's a religion, I would say the burden of proofs upon you. Like, why do you think it's a religion? Karen Armstrong used to be a nun. Yeah, she studied a lot of these conflicts, a lot of these wars, and she says they're inherently political.
Yeah, there's definitely political involvement.
She says that she's an
isn't it
activist.
masked sometimes with religion, and that's the reason why they're doing this cause and why people are able to buy into it because they believe in that same religion.
You used a very important term, and you said masked.
Yeah.
Mask is not the essence. Mask is a facade that you put on, and that's exactly how religion gets used.
Yeah.
Yeah, religion gets hijacked. For example, the war in Iraq. You're Christian, yeah?
Yeah.
George W. Bush said, I saw in my dream, I was told by God to go and liberate the Christians and do this and do that. I don't think you're going to defend what happened in Iraq, isn't it? And you would be the first to say, that's bollocks, that's nonsense, that's, the hell is this, that's not Christianity. But the thing is, that's what he said. And so he would, and even his father, he said, you see him taking a picture with his priest and bishop or whatnot. The thing is, we know that's nonsense. Like, these people it's inherently political, but they use religion to force it down people's necks. It's like LGBTQ. Like, a lot of LGBTQ folk just want to be left alone. Don't give a toss about all this stuff, but it's being hijacked to put forward the left and certain draconian practices of censoriousness and censorship and all that sort of stuff. It's the same with religion. It's the same with religion. For example, one of the 9/11 guys, like weeks before, the guy would be found in a strip club. The guy who did, I think it was I think Paris attack, or one of these, I think Syria or Paris attack. Like a week before, the guy ordered a book called Islam for Dummies. Yeah, Quran for Dummies, Islam for Dummies. Like, he didn't understand the basic element. MI5 have said, and this article you can find in The Guardian, they said a lot of these extremists, we actually say that they're not very religious. It's actually the other extremism, the one that society is not putting forward. That's the extremism that's causing this.
But I think sometimes people use excuses of what the actual war is about or what the actual fight is about. So what I mean by that is, you might think it's a religious conflict, but really and truly it's just the power of getting the land or having power over someone else.
Let me give you an example. It was America versus the Soviet Union. America wanted to kill the Soviet Union. So just like now what's happening in Ukraine, the proxy war was with Afghanistan. In Afghanistan, you had a group called the Mujahideen. The Mujahideen, and there's a clip where an American goes there and he goes, "You guys are on the truth. You are fighting a just war and God is happy with you." The clip is on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fight with these people that are here taking your land from you. So the Americans did not shy away from using religion
Into
to weaken the Soviets.
yeah.
Again, the same was done again by the Americans when it came to Afghanistan and Pakistan post 9/11.
Yeah.
Yeah. The way America riled up its far right by saying this was an attack on Christianity, this was an attack on our values. Look at what's happening over there. And people went and they, you know, even with Trump, even what Trump did now, you know, standing in front of a church with a Bible in his hand, saying, "I'm with you," and this and that. Would you say Trump is a bastion of Christianity? You wouldn't say that.
No.
So, bro, like Christianity has fallen prey to this, but Christianity has been used and abused, and now it's another scapegoat now.
Yeah.
It's always a scapegoat. Islam is the scapegoat that's going through it now. Like I have a black neighbor, and he said, he was just laughing at me once. He said, "It's your turn now."
Yeah.
It's just your turn now.
Yeah.
Back in the days, he said, I was black, and sometimes when we would see a white police officer, we'd have to hide on one side of the wall just so they could go past. You see the Muhammad Ali movie remake, he's just jogging. He goes, what you running away from, son?
Yeah.
So having comments like this, like that's somewhat a reasonable comment. But you know, like imagine being in the wrong place and just getting 5 bullets in the back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
So like racism isn't as bad as it was. Again, that's a topic for discussion.
Yeah.
But now the scapegoating what's used and done with Islam is next level. Like I can give Georgia State University says a Muslim terrorist gets mentioned 4.5 times more than a regular terrorist.
Yeah.
After 9/11, 73% of the terrorists have actually been far right.
Yeah.
If you look, Jack Shaheen actually looked, he looked at movies that came out in 100 years, only 10 of them were pro-Arab. All of this sort of stuff does go through. So people saying, yeah, you guys are mad still, you guys are the nuts. And it's because you guys only consume mainstream media.
Oh, the vilification of Arabs.
Jack Shaheen, 100 years, only 13 movies were pro-Arab. Bro, that takes a toll on people. This whole bro, it's nuts. Constantly seeing this again and again and again, and then you look at the news 4.5 times more, and again and again. When it's a white guy, Dylan Roof went and shot up a church. Afterwards, the police gave him Burger King.
Yeah, saw that.
The flip.
Can I ask you, based on like what you would say is, what is the most purest Muslim or Islamic country right now?
The thing is, that varies from people to people. For some people, it's like, I want to go and I want to be able to say whatever I want to say without getting a knock on the door. For some people, it's like, you know what? I want to be able to send my wife to the shops without her getting, you know, comments being passed or whatnot. For some people, it might be the tourism industry has to be less, so the country has to be financially secure. Like there are certain places in Abu Dhabi and Dubai where that is the thing, but they also rely on the tourist industry. Saudi is trying to kind of, because it's going down with the oil, it's trying to get kind of foreign people kind of coming in. You know what I'm saying?
Some of the laws that they passed.
Yeah. So Turkey, they're very good in terms of its real estate, in terms of how similar the lifestyle is, like Ankara and stuff like that. A lot of people have said we can get land there. It's easy for us. We don't get kind of like, we don't get a knock on the door. It depends on your criteria. Like for some people, even when the COVID thing hits, like they're like, we don't want the government to be knocking on our door and forcing it, like certain Middle Eastern countries. So it depends what you want and on your criteria. So that is an individual taste.
So the reason I ask you is because I'm a Palestinian refugee from Lebanon, and Lebanon is a country for the last 50, 60 years is gone through loads of civil wars because of religion, mask on, mask off, whatever. You've got let's say the sheep that, okay, this politician who represents my religion, I'm going to listen to what he says. This politician that represents my religion, I'm going to listen to what he says, all based on religion.
But also bear in mind, you said this politician. So that's how you started the sentence. This politician is my religion. So again, you've admitted that the root is still politics.
Of course. But that's how they suck you in. So like,
Brilliant, brilliant.
I represent you guys because I'm Sunni Muslim, or I represent you, I'm
But
Shia
do you
Muslim.
see?
Yeah.
It's that politician using that rhetoric to his favor. Like Tony Blair. Initially, because it's a Protestant country, the UK, he's Protestant, everything. As soon as he, steps off, I've converted to Catholicism now. You see? So even religion and these sorts of things. But sorry, go ahead.
Can you say the UK is a very atheist-run country?
Statistically, yes.
Okay, so when I think of that, I'm just going to be as honest as I can. Living in the UK for me is a far better life to have than living in a country like Lebanon, like, I don't know, Iraq, like where religion is always the forefront of troubles there. So is it better to live in a country that's not run by religion at all, have politicians associated with any religion than a country that says they are?
Very good question. Some people will come from those countries here. They will say, our kids are Muslim, our families are Muslim. Then one of the kid ends up, getting, confused about his gender. And then that's 20 years gone there. Another person becomes an atheist. They would say, I would rather stay in that country and go through that than my kids come and lose their religion and identity, become heathens, become people that are confused in life, cut bits off of their body, lose like themselves, frankly, and become a bane to society. I would rather stay in that country, deal with that political nature, than to lose religion. Some people, they will be so much in that place, they will say, you know what, I just want to get out of here because we're in the brunt of it. I will go and I will, keep my family safe and I will do this. It depends, my bro. It depends where you are, what you're going through. Some people have come. For example, I was looking at one case study of a refugee, a father who sent his kids, in these dinghy boats, and they were amongst the people that drowned coming from France to the UK, and he was slapping himself. He was saying, had I known that my kids would drown, he would say, I would have eaten less, slept with less, done less, than send my kids to just drown and become slaughtered. A lot of people, it's easier said than done, my bro, because it's the luck of the draw. It's the luck of the draw. It depends who your friends are. It depends which people you get, sucked into. It depends, like, do you trust education? But certain professors are atheists and, really drilling in atheism and stuff like that. Bro, a lot of these professors in Oxford and Cambridge, bro, LGBT, there is standard. If you are not pro-LGBT, transphobe, like, are you a transphobe? Like, what's going on here? Like, what's this? Like, why do you believe that? Oh, it's a religion telling you that. Oh, okay. So nonsense is this? So the thing is, look, it's not as simple as that. Like, look, if a person wants to kind of come from there, you have to understand there's a physical war, there's a mental war as well. There, it's physical, like they'll withhold you. Here, okay, come on, flexing in there. There, bro, there they don't have money, so there they'll come and they'll handcuff you. Here they've got peas, so they can afford to make a Netflix series with 500,000 and put subtle messages in there, and they play the long game. They play the Benjamin Netanyahu. He's admitted this standard. He's like, you want to change the regime in Iran? Just send them some of our shows, and then get them to want to be like the West, and boom, done. You search this. It's on YouTube. So the thing is, bro, it depends. Like, on the one hand, people are focused on the physical war, but you have to understand the psychological war that we're not too familiar with. Because again, it's just a relief, like, oh, I'm just out of that war now. And that's understandable.
That's incredible.
Of course, that's important. But some people would say, I would rather stay there than lose my kids. And the religion goes. You know what I'm saying? So it depends who you're speaking to. It depends. But it's not easy, bro. 21st century.
For someone that was you born here?
I was, yeah.
So you're born here in proper British.
British, mate.
Pucker pies.
Come on, mate.
Would you, like, what positives would you say there is in the Western man's life?
Look,
because I see loads personally.
Look, it's not about what's positive here. Every country has pros and negatives. If you ask me where I'd want to live, this is my homeland, this is my country, this is where I was born. It doesn't matter if you like the Prophet, peace be upon him, when he was moved and forced out of Makkah, he looked back and he said, "Had I not been forced to go out here, I would have never left you, O Makkah." I feel the same, bro. I've gone to Norway, I've been, Switzerland,
Beautiful.
Italy, been bare places, but bro, even though you're flipping grey hair, gloomy hair, this is my country. These are my
So you're
people.
used to,
It's my people, it's my country. I'm familiar with the culture. Like you said, we're familiar with it. We know it. We know the intricacies and stuff like that. What I love about the people here is the character. Yeah, the manners of the Brits
Yeah.
is brilliant. The system that we have in place, the multiculturalism, the ease to go from one place to another, not traveling for ages. Bro, the list is endless.
What would you? Because me
And
personally,
when we talk about the negatives, it's because we want the country to be well. Like you
Yeah.
move into a house, if you're moving out the next day, why on earth would you start fixing it? But when you intend to live in it for years,
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, you
Brick
know
by
what?
brick.
Let's put a filler there. Let's paint this and let's do that. But the thing is, when you're brown and when you're black, oh yeah, why are you saying that? I'm allowed to say that. Just like Russell Brand's allowed to say that. John Oliver's allowed to say that without being told to go back to your country or be grateful. Do you mean be
That's
nonsense?
actually my next point I was just about to
Yeah,
make.
not be grateful. Be grateful for what? Be grateful that the Nationality Act actually brought Jamaicans and Indians to come to this country.
But they didn't have
come,
to.
help rebuild
But they
it.
didn't have
We
to.
built. We built these under.
But they didn't have to.
Not about they didn't have to. The way our countries was left, bro, we had no choice but to.
Okay.
Because the way the economy is done, the economy is not.
So why didn't
east-
everyone come over?
Sorry.
Why didn't everyone come over?
Because even to come over, the thing is, some people are still have land, they still have places,
Right.
they still have a way, or they're still traditional and cultural. Like, I don't want to leave.
No,
I don't want to go.
and you made a great point about that documentary you spoke about when he or the father sent their kids over and they died, unfortunately, and he literally smashing his hands across his head because I could have worked harder, I could have done this more in my own land and built my own future in your own land, but he wanted them to have a better life, right? I honestly think I wasn't born here. I don't think that people of where I'm from and Afro Caribbean Arabs, I don't think we're grateful enough for what this country has done for us. And I'm talking, my parents were on benefits. Nowhere in the world, apart from Switzerland and Germany that I know of, because I've got family there, will support you regardless if you're working or not. And let's not even get into the aspects of
I'll tell you why.
how much benefit fraud that we've actually our people have done. And,
I'll tell you
and we're
why.
still, I don't think there's enough gratefulness.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why there's no gratefulness. Because for the last 100 years, the UK, there hasn't been a single year that the UK has not been participating in a war that's primarily in our country.
I get that.
No.
But just
let me make the point. Let me make the point, because it's very important.
Yeah.
This is very important. Where you're starting. If you're so it depends where we're starting the conversation. If we're starting the conversation, our parents came here. If that's where history starts, our parents came from a land in which there was madness going on, and we've come here, and now we've been given this and that. Of course, that's fantastic. That's brilliant. But bear in mind, like child benefit system is a system that was actually started by the Caliph Umar. May Allah be pleased with him. Caliph, one of the leader of the Muslims. I think he came. So after the Prophet, peace be upon him, it was Abu Bakr, then it was Umar. So these again have been taken from us. But the point that you've made is it's in this country and people come and they benefit. I say let's go a bit back. Let's go a bit back. Like, why is it that these people are having to come over? Let's look at India. The UK has interfered in India for 200 years.
Yeah, I saw something literally 2 days ago where is it King Charles's wife? Is it Camille?
Yeah.
Is that her name?
Camilla, yeah.
She said she didn't want to wear this. Like diamond because it was stolen from India.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And it said later in the article that England or the UK is responsible for stealing like close to $1 trillion or trillions in in wealth from, I believe it was India. So over the time, so that's the reason why a lot of people feel like they have to come here because I know you talk about I want to make a change in my community here, but when there isn't a infrastructure in place within that particular country, it's harder for someone to do it. So would they not look at it as
Oh, 100%.
atheism?
But listen, if I as a very good friend of yours, I'd hope to say, right? If I punched you every single time for a long time and you keep becoming my friend, keep forgiving me, surely you're going, yo, you know what, bro? I'm not coming to your house, bro. And like you mentioned, depending on where you start the conversation, which something I did learn recently is the conversation changes really, really significantly, right? But the facts are based. We can look about 100 years ago. That's fine, and I'm not sure we've all struggled in our ways and whatnot. But when we look at the more narrow side of it, I've come to this country. If we talk about Islam, you've got to respect the land, the law of the land, which is all fine. I just feel there's sometimes where we're too rebellious. Me myself as well, by the way. And I feel like we feel, and I get why historically, but we do feel like we're obliged to get X, Y, and Z because we're a minority. But it's like, well, no, this is my. If you come to my house, you're taking your shoes off. I don't care if you don't take your shoes off at your house. That's my rules in my house. You can't go into my fridge.
Yeah.
If I want to give you whatever's in my fridge, that's my choice because it's my house. And I feel like the analogy I'm using right now is people come to the UK, including myself, probably not my doubt, but people like us, come into England and be like, we expect this, I want this, I do this, with this. And it's like, well, okay, hold on. Thank you for giving it, because let's be honest, we've got equal rights. Whether we like it or not, we might come across as we get racist or discrimination. I'm not disputing
You
that.
believe we have equal rights, yeah?
100%. What can an Englishman do that we can't?
Do you
Just one
believe
thing.
that? Do you believe that as well? Do you believe equal rights?
I think equal rights to an extent. I think.
Name me one thing. I want to know one thing.
I think it's equal rights to an extent, but I think it's treated indifferently. I don't know if there's a difference between that. I think there's been treated indifferently, and I guess quote unquote equal rights, as in I have access to water, running water, and things like that. I mean,
no, okay. So,
yeah,
so
I mean,
let's not talk about what we have. Let's talk about what kind of white British English person, whatever white British is. I know it's too vague because again depends where you start the conversation. But in theory, an Englishman that's born and bred there, and their family are British as well. What rights do they have that I can't do? Just one. I just want one.
All right. So
one.
Yeah.
No lefts and rights, just one.
But the thing is, you're talking about rights. Why are we
Equal
talking
rights.
about why are we talking about rights? Because, like he said, rights is something you can write down. Like, okay, access to running water, access to education.
Right.
I will say that look at the people that are actually in Eton or in these elite institutions.
Right.
That then lead to them doing PPE in Oxford. Let's look at how many people go there, and let's look at how many people actually get accepted in these high echelons of society.
But is there ethnic people in Eton?
Very negligible.
Of course, but then the ratio of how many people there is white compared to ethnicity is a massive difference to that as
But
well.
do you see, on the one hand, you're talking about equal rights, but on the other hand, the thing is...
Are you talking about equal opportunity or equal right? I'm talking about a land of law.
You're talking about equal rights, isn't it? Yeah.
I've got everything.
I'm talking about equal opportunities. I think that should be part of the conversation as well.
Yeah, and I think that's what I'm referring to. Like, opportunities definitely different to actual rights. Yeah, you can't say that England doesn't provide that. England does provide equal rights, but opportunities are. That's where I feel there can be a difference, considering the people that are in charge of making these decisions and giving these opportunities to people. And listen, I think to an extent, and something I will say is, like, I know for a fact that, I don't know for a fact, but I do believe that people relate to people based on who they are. So someone who was a black Nigerian male will, and let's say for example I was going for a job, and if he was in charge of employing someone, I reckon, and there was, say, me and a white person potentially, I think he may feel like he'd want to help me, and I feel like that's kind of, that can be the case in certain circumstances, but also can say that that's not the case, and people are given opportunities when maybe they don't deserve it, but it's because of how they are, how they appear, and how they look as to why they've been given those opportunities. And I think that's what I think is the biggest difference.
But that's going to take time. Historically, it's going to take time to get to the more numbers in Eton, for argument's sake, or more ethnic people going into Cambridge University and whatnot.
Let's put this on ice for a second, because the point I was making initially was that was the crux of the kind of evidence that I was providing was, if you look for the last 100 years, the UK, there hasn't been a single year that the UK hasn't been in a war. The UK has drawn borders in the Middle East, Again, we're talking about the United States as well, in Africa and stuff like that. So causing warring factions, being involved, siphoning trillions whilst corrupting the country. Like when the British entered India, you look at the economic situation there, and afterwards finished. There was a 90 plus literacy rate in Iraq before the West entered Iraq. Now it's less than 10%. It's less than 10%. Half of the population has cancer because of the depleted uranium that was dropped. It's now a finished country. It's now been, it's game over there, frankly. Yeah. If you look even there financially, they were very strong. Saddam said, "Oh, I want to sell oil now in euros." Peak time. Peak time started. There was democracy also in Iran, 1951 with Mohammad Mossadegh. He was liberal, but they removed him because he wanted to nationalize oil. Allende, Lumumba of Congo. Yeah, all of these people were democratically elected. So on the one hand, you're talking about democracy, but on the other hand, the people that are democratically elected, yeah, but they're not allowing our corporations to come in, yeah, get rid of them. And then now there's 20, 30 years, a dictator, and now he's being propped up by the Western powers because it's good. Then when you look at Foreign Office reports, they say, yeah, it's within our interest to keep Kuwait separate, to keep Egypt separate, because we don't want the oil countries to come together and come against us. Bro, people aren't stupid. And these people and this knowledge gets passed on. You're not going to see it on Netflix and all this sort of stuff. This has to be read in books where you realize that this stuff is even happening even till today.
Yeah.
When you hear of torture techniques that are being used against people that are against that the West has said, oh, these are enemies, but they say, oh, no torture. Senate 2014 report talks about anal hydration, where you mash up food and stick it up the person's arsehole. And then that's
crazy.
Well, that's mad. And you know what? What else? Stick him in a coffin for 11 days. Or you know what? Strip him, hang him, and he dies of hypothermia. All of this stuff is there. Like Senate 2014 report of the CIA. So when people hear this sort of stuff, Daniel Hale, we're talking about drone attacks. Drone attacks is every day. Daniel Hale is a whistleblower of the NSA. He said 90% was on in civilians. Bro, 90% deaths of civilians when drone attacks happen every single day, and countries are being decimated. Bombs are celebrated on the news, and then people are saying, oh, hey, you should be grateful. Okay, look, let's put things in context. Should I be grateful for, the peace over here and the kind people and this and that? Yes, 100% I should be grateful for that. Does that now mean I should ignore the crimes that have taken place? That I should be quiet? 100% no. Because the country actually teaches me freedom of speech.
Yeah.
It teaches me to discuss and debate. It teaches me to learn about my history. I think that's part of being British as well. And I think that's something that we're taught in schools, to look at both sides of the argument. It's not necessarily, I disagree with this, therefore now I'm ungrateful. It's a matter of, that's wrong, and that has to be acknowledged. Where people are saying, no, they don't talk about the past. No, we need to talk about the past, and that's why the cherry on the cake will be Malcolm's statement, where he said, they stick a knife in my back, they take it out 6 inches, and somehow I'm supposed to be grateful?
Look, I think when I'm talking about those that live here, as in ourselves here, and yes, okay.
I'm talking about us as well.
No, well, this is what I'm trying to say though. But which you brought up, do I think we have equal rights in the UK? Us four, I do believe so. I didn't say, and I won't ever say that we should never be speaking about history. I'm never gonna say that, because I definitely think there should be exposure to that kind of the statistics you've kind of thrown out there. But I do feel like we aren't grateful internally as we're living here. That's not me saying that.
I would say we are.
Okay.
The people that I've met, I haven't come across people saying, these people give me benefits and help me in this situation. God.
Yeah.
I haven't come across anybody like that. It's just that
I've come across people that are like, I didn't get my benefits today. Fuckers.
But that's justified. If there's a system that's been put in place and one day you don't get your benefits, why should that person be grateful because they have a different colored skin?
No.
Within the system, you're allowed to go and complain because there's a system that's been put in place. You know what I'm saying? An Englishman if he doesn't get his benefits on one day,
Yeah.
he's just going to
complain.
sit back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's gonna complain, yeah.
Complaining is part of the system, is part of getting your rights. So
There's
I think
hope.
certain,
there's hope.
But how far do we go
Enjoyment.
back?
As
Well,
far,
that's his
where-
life,
as far-
isn't it? That's
as-
his life.
And,
Yeah,
and
that's
that,
his
exactly,
life.
and this is my life, and that's what I'm trying to say. In this, but you're saying in terms of, but
Four,
isn't
four,
it
five,
great?
look, 4 or 5 generations down the line,
Yeah.
my kids might be then. I don't know what you can nationalize or like ethnically label them, but they might be great, have gratitude to the life they're living.
Yeah.
But I know damn well their ancestors didn't. So it's just like, as of now, and what you're saying, if we're not making these changes now, we're not going to pave the way for the ones that will come after us.
No, I'm not this one, but I'm saying in terms of opportunity in the UK, step away. And this is actually true. So people in Iraq, if you move to Egypt, for argument's sake, you can never ever get citizenship. Thank you. Ever get citizenship in Egypt? You have to reapply every single year to get a 1 year permanent living visa, right? In the UK, if you live for 5 years,
But you're missing the point. Egypt didn't invade Iraq.
but it's
Egypt
But
doesn't.
I get it's but then, like you both mentioned, which are very good points, is based on what my family have been through and yeah, cool. There's a cycle to it.
Let me give you an example. A very close friend of mine is trying to bring his wife over.
Yeah.
He's got a good business. He's ticked all the boxes, and he's been waiting 2 months, and it's been peak. Every night without the wife has been peak. After 2 months, he gets an email saying, "By the way, we haven't even started your applications because we've been giving priority to the Ukrainians." Is that justified? Is that allowed? Did that take place when the invasion of Iraq was taking place or Afghanistan?
definitely.
I didn't hear that.
Definitely wasn't.
If we're talking about rights and stuff like that, I think the right of my mother should be that she should be able to wear the hijab and walk the street without being shouted abuse, without being egged, without without stuff like that. We're talking about rights. I should be at school and I shouldn't be expected to defend the Prophet Muhammad or my religion just because the teacher has been she's pissed off because of what she's seen in the news. And we're hearing constant cases in which kids are having to defend their homelands on news. Now Chinese people getting slapped up, Russian people getting slapped up. Why? Because we consume the media. If we're talking about rights, I would say the right to safety, the right to walk out wearing your religious garb and not being abused and not being called a terrorist. I was in secondary school when 9/11 happened, and I've gone through madness, bro. People have to shave their beards, change their names. There's enough research to suggest if you are of a certain name, you will not get employed. If you look a certain way, I was told you want to work, I don't want to name drop certain big companies. My boss said you can have to shave the beard. But hey, look, it's just protocol and it's just this. So on paper, it's like, yep, these are the rules. But implementation-wise, they hide behind certain protocols. Oh no, it's for everybody. It's it's in Section 14, Article 5. But how comes it's never been done before?
Yeah.
No, but it's just certain things. Look, just off the record, it's just how he is, and how things are, and we've had to make a lot of allowances. In fact, my friends, if their wife is coming home late, they would have to go and make sure that she's able to come from the car home because someone might just come and bottle her on the head. So what I'm saying, bro, it's not as simple as that. And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. Look, if you're getting benefits and stuff like that, very good, and alhamdulillah, which means all praise be to Allah. There's a hadith that says, "He who does not thank the people has not thanked God." Yeah, but then are we allowed to ask, where is Britain getting its money from? Okay, Britain is number one when it comes to corporate tax evasion. But why is that one my uncle that's working hard, he doesn't pay his tax? They're on his door. They're on his door, bro. They're checking everything, going through every last receipt. But when you look at Nadeem Zahawi or whatever my man's name is from Conservative Party, flipping, how many million was it? 500 million?
I can't remember. Yeah.
500 million. And he's smiling.
Yeah.
Hey.
And at most he loses his job. Like that's the he doesn't
And
go
even
to jail,
that took a week.
Yeah.
And that took public pressure.
Yeah.
That took public pressure. That's 500,000, bro.
Yeah.
If I don't pay tax, bro, flipping heck. Bro, I was told by the brothers, you're in dawah now. You need to make sure your taxes are on fleek. You need to make sure they're on fleek. They will come for you, bro. Like, these conversations happen behind closed doors, bro. Like, My mom's saying this, look, go safe, it's this time. I want you to text me the amount of brothers that will go. And the parents are like, just drop me a message, you got there safe. Just drop me a message.
Yeah.
Safety. You're talking about human rights. Safety, not to get bottled. Okay. Safety, not to get shot. Bro, Mexican guy, tube station, got shot.
Hernandez.
Yeah, Hernandez. And he's one of many got shot. Why? Because he had a brown complexion.
Yeah.
George Floyd, knee on the neck.
Yeah.
And Palestine, standard. That's standard. After George Floyd thing was happening, pictures of Palestinians having knees on the neck and this also. So the point that I'm trying to say is, whenever we're making these points, let's invite both points, that we can be grateful for the positive things, but we can also criticize where's the money coming from. Corporate tax evasion. When you look at how certain African countries have been subjugated, you mentioned China before. I think it was off camera.
It might have been on my
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. So the way it's done is that China's following the same map that America's followed with IMF and World Bank, which is you give money to corrupt regime. They're going to default. Then you start asking them for favors and you say, give us that port. Let our companies go in there. Let us do this. Bro, this is the way it is. Economic slavery. But it's done in a very clever way. Be grateful. Our religion teaches us to be grateful, but our religion also says that stand up for truth and justice, even if it means going against yourself.
I think that's the biggest point and problem with society as a whole. I feel like on both sides, there's not enough people from maybe one side who look at the negatives and the bad things that are thrown within the things that they believe in. So if they're right wing for whatever reason, they don't look at those problems, but they're happy to look at all the cons and negativities of the quote unquote left. And then the left is the same. The left will bypass the bad things that those ideologies present, but for the right, they're quick to criticize. And I think until there's no way we're gonna ever get to a point of society where there's equality across the board, because not enough people care about other people's issues, and that's the biggest problem. I don't think. Yeah, it's just they don't care enough about people's issues.
I think left and right wing still they're wings on the same bird.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So the best way, I think you hit the nail on the head, which is to appreciate nuances. Like as Muslims, in some things we're left wing, in some things we're right wing.
Yeah.
I'm sure as Christians you are as well. So this whole allegiance to one thing, like you were talking about Lebanon as well, that certain people say, because that's a very shallow way of looking. Just because he follows our thing, therefore he's going to be correct or this or that we do need to get out of that mentality as well and look at things more objectively. Or because this is how it is to my family, or this is how it is to our culture, we need to be a bit more objective looking at this. Say, I understand this, but let's explore this as well. And then let's look at the holistic picture.
We pick and choose kind of sometimes when stuff's doing. That's probably what I'm doing here right now, which is probably ethically wrong, I guess. And I think
that's very self-aware of you as well.
Yeah.
And which is good for you to point out, and that's healthy as well.
I'll make sure I add that onto the clip.
That's going to be the trailer at the
start. But yeah, like I said, we pick and choose sometimes, and when it comes to religion, that's probably the biggest downfall, I feel. And I'll give you a prime example. Ramadan's around the corner. And there's a lot of females and males that suddenly the holy month of Ramadan comes through, and suddenly they've put their hijab on, they've suddenly deleted all their social media, and they've suddenly started to pray 5 times a day again, and they're suddenly religious again. I'm not saying it wasn't prior, I'm not judging the sisters or the brothers, but what happens is those things, because they pick and choose that. Why do you think that is? Why, what is it about Ramadan that, I know it's a holy month and I understand it's, all your deeds are rewarded 10 times fold and whatnot. What I think that I hate that. That's me personally. Like, surely that makes you fake, and you can't lie to the man above. So you changing your way of living just for that month, and then after that, by the way, what they're gonna do is do exactly what they're doing. Back to the shisha, take off the hijab, not pray 5 times, we'll miss a few prayers here and there. And yeah, what's your views on that?
If I was to reframe this in a different way, I think your perspective would change. If somebody is smoking and destroying their body for a whole year round, the whole year, but they're like, you know what? In January, I'm gonna make the effort. I'm gonna
January.
I'm gonna keep it clean.
No.
1 month in the year, I'm just gonna keep it clean. like some people do with their New Year's resolution or
Yeah,
whatnot.
yeah.
You say, and then he says this, like, you know what? I can only do it for January. Like it's hard. January gives me that motivation and that push because it's the new year. It helps me. But I can't do it anywhere else. You wouldn't say that person is so weak. He's so this. He's that. You say, you know what? That 1 month, it helps your body recover. It helps, whatever state you're in. Brilliant. If a person does alcohol, says, you know what? January, I just want to detox my body and I want to allow that and I want to see how I'm going to feel. Some people have no fat November or whatever it is. These things, my bro, Valentine's Day, not even Valentine's, Mother's Day or Father's Day. Oh, it's just one day in a week. I think that's sad. Some people don't meet their parents at all.
Yeah.
They don't meet their parents at all, my
Yeah.
bro. So for them, you're taking that one day away from them. I would say let them have that day, but encourage them to kind of expand that a little bit. Say, how did you feel on that day when you went there? Why not do it once a month? Why not extend that? So I think Ramadan, because it's just like the good deeds are multiplied, the bad deeds are multiplied as well. The penalty is multiplied as well. So if you're doing peak stuff in Ramadan, bro, that's like taking a piss. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like going to the Queen's place, like don't bow and don't do this, and you go there, flipping, start scratching your dong. People are like, flipping heck, man, you get pulled away. Like, what are you doing? And bro, there's gonna be consequences. So that month, bro, it's like Allah understands that, look, we're weak and this and that, but certain periods of the time, I mean, you have to have some self-control.
Yeah, some
that-
discipline. Yeah.
Some discipline. Like, I mean, we do this. You're not going to do weed when you're going to collect your child from the nursery. That's just dumb. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you're going like that, but if they spot you doing that, the next day the gate's locked for you, bro. There's going to be someone there. Sir, can you step aside, please? It's one of those ones, bro.
Special services. Let's go.
It's one of those ones. So the thing is, my bro, there's so many different forces pulling people in different areas, like people being pulled towards intoxicants, to dating, to haram relationships, to materialism, individualism. For 1 month, if a person is able to pull away from that stuff, to cut social media off when it's become like a junkie's habit, I rate my man. I rate him going, the fact that he's able to switch off for a month. Bro, my worry is with those people that can't even manage that.
Okay.
They can't even manage that. So if a person's able to do that, I know many people that after Ramadan, they go, you know what? Because there's some studies to suggest if you do something for 30 days,
You can do it for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it can turn into a habit now.
Yeah.
Some say it's different, but there's studies to say both. So it's important that a person doesn't, like, somebody's getting up, like it's taking them a while to get up, and you're like, bruv, just stay down. What are you doing? Just lie down. Like, even if it's edging forward a little bit, kudos to you, bro. Well done. Respect to you. And it's not even cutting drugs. That person's cut drugs, alcohol, the dating, social media. Give that guy a bloody medal. You know what I
I think he
mean?
was doing it beforehand, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
21st
good
century,
enough.
bro.
Good perspective to put.
Yeah, give my man a medal.
There's obviously Ramadan
And
really.
the Tarawih, bro. God damn.
They are
The Tarawih is the night
long.
prayer. Bro, that takes like 45 minutes. You're standing for 45
My knees still
minutes.
hurt.
Bro, you telling this guy that's on social media at home, doing all this, and now he's standing in prayer for 45 minutes?
Yeah, you gotta respect him. Yeah. You gotta respect him.
You know what I mean?
No, I hear you. I hear you. Does just quickly, like, random myths about Ramadan? Is it true that your fast won't count if you don't pray?
That's false.
False.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, that's nice.
That's fantastic.
No, because you hear it all the time.
Yeah.
Gargling water and brushing your teeth. Can you do that during fast?
It's best to avoid it because of the risk that something can go down your throat.
What, to brush your teeth?
The brushing the teeth, if you feel that it's like really pungent and it's getting peak now, and you're dealing with people, then obviously you should.
Yeah,
Because, you know
that's
what I mean?
crazy. I don't like that. Is crazy. Like, that is crazy.
You know what I mean?
Like, brush your teeth, man. Like,
Yeah.
please,
But
brush your teeth.
I'm sometimes in the shower, right, during Ramadan, right, and I'm showering, and it hits your mouth, and you subconsciously just start swallowing more. Like, you're not swallowing no water, but it's just like you're so scared to not swallow that you're trying to stop yourself from swallowing, so you're like, and you're like, oh shit, I maybe drank some water.
But even that worry, bro, it's like if you told your wife
Yeah.
and you're like, look, even when I'm out and I see this pretty girl and then I look away, I'm like, did I see her?
There's
And
no pretty woman apart from my wife.
come on, G. Getting those brownie points. So when you tell her that look, I see somebody and I quickly look away and then I get worried and then I start.
It's your intentions.
No, she's gonna appreciate that. She's gonna be like, yo, my man's so worried that he's gonna that he wants to stay so loyal to me, bro. So that's ibadah, that's worship as well.
Okay.
You get rewarded for worrying that. Look, I don't want anything to affect my fast.
Right.
So obviously, it's best to avoid it. Use a miswak. Don't use like flavored toothpaste because obviously the flavor and stuff like that, stuff can go in, and it's best to be safe. But analyze the situation, and if you're unsure, just speak to your local scholar. But typically speaking, just be on the side of caution.
Got a word from Smarter Jannah, that's all I need.
I was gonna ask you, lots. What was can you like remember the first time you lots fasted and how hard that was for you? Do you remember like the first time you guys ever fasted, or maybe the mistakes you made, like maybe funny or whatever, or a story or something?
It wasn't hard because I think when I started, you break fast like 3 p.m.
I was just thinking the same thing.
I was very early.
Okay, yeah.
What they did in primary school, during break they would lock us away.
What?
We weren't allowed to go out, and because they were saying for our health reasons to go play outside, lose energy. You're 8, 9-year-old, whatever, or 6-year-old. They don't want you to lose energy running and playing around. So during break
and lunchtime.
Yeah, we would stay in the class or get to go home and come back if we would.
This was back in the days, bear in mind.
I
Nowadays,
don't know how it's changed now.
Because I've been a teacher, like they will have like let the kid go down, get some fresh air, give them that option to come up if they need to.
Yeah.
If they want to break their fast because they're feeling lightheaded, allow them to.
Yeah.
So that's permissible as well. Like before the age of puberty, it's not obligated for you to fast. And it's based upon the day, like in dusk till dawn. So dusk till dawn, like the brother said very well, that in December time, it's very short. Like you get up, you just have breakfast like 7 o'clock, and then you break it by the time you get home 4 o'clock. So you're done.
If I accidentally eat whilst I'm fasting,
Accidentally eat, you're forgiven. That there's a narration to say that God has fed you in that scenario.
because you needed it.
Wait. Sorry, just for me, right? Like layman here. How do you accidentally eat?
So my mum,
sorry.
So my mum, she, when you're
Tastes food.
cooking, she don't taste it. She accidentally usually tastes fish like ooh, and
Good example.
Okay,
Wow, brilliant.
Okay, yeah. I was thinking about
That's
you more like.
fantastic.
Do you like? How
I was going to say something stupid.
what was you gonna say?
I was some dumb thing like,
Jump
water
into a
on my
cake.
desk, just drink the water. But that's brilliant, bro, because parents, they do that, isn't it?
Yeah. If you didn't know, we're sponsored by Premium Milk Cakes. You can get them on premiummilk.com. These are milk cakes. You get them on wide range of flavours. There's 20 flavours to be exact. Coming to a takeaway store near you. I've got the Ferrero Rocher version.
The one I've got here is Special Lotus Biscoffee. I'm talking about the biscoffee that we're all used to.
I'm indulging in it now.
Okay, texture's banging, as you can see.
Sensational.
Lovely flavours, you milk pop lovers, you're gonna love this.
Feels like cheating on your wife. It feels like that. It feels like something. It's like a guilty pleasure.
Right. Can't tell more, man. Make sure you get yours at premiummilk.com.
Get some at premiummilkcakes.com. Just give me the fucking review, bro. I'm taking more bites and shit.